everyone. Welcome back to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That is Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Hello there. We're here today to celebrate. Celebrate an amazing day. Kids get it off from school, and we get to watch some really solid movies. And we're here to talk about and celebrate Columbus Day.
Chris Columbus, the director, not the shitbag explorer, just to be clear.
We do not support the Explorer whatsoever, but Chris Columbus, we heart you.
Just like many things that America does, we found it just not the American thing to do to celebrate Christopher Columbus on Christopher Columbus Day. So we figured, like, hey, Chris Columbus, same name. Why not celebrate him on that day? We did our initial Columbus Day episode with Chris Columbus and Mrs. Doubtfire. And this year, we have Adventures of Babysitting, the 1987 classic, available, arguably, what some may say is on Disney Plus, but it's not the original version of this movie. Mark, tell us your origin story with Adventures of Babysitting.
Surprisingly, I'd never seen this movie before. This was not in my zeitgeist as a child. My wife was like, "How have you never seen this?" But it was not for me. It was not one that I watched. Did you watch it a lot as a kid?
I never saw it until this viewing of the movie. A lot of firsts for the podcast. Adventures of Babysitting. I heard it was really fun and entertaining for my sister, who was at that time was in high school. So there was just like that age difference of like, I don't want to see that. That looks stupid. But my sister seemed like she was into it.
My wife was like, "Well, are you going to watch the remake TV series?" I'm like, hell no. Anything remade from an original quality movie is always terrible. And Chris Columbus wasn't doing it. So fuck that.
So I knew that there was a remake. What didn't know it was a TV show or movie or whatever. But I did see that Sabrina Carpenter is in that. So it makes me more likely to watch that because Sabrina Carpenter, the singer, is in it. And who doesn't love Sabrina Carpenter because she's bringing pop back like no one else has.
So when you think about this movie, I'd never seen it. You just saw it. Do you want to do the plot summary this time?
Yeah, sure. Just like any 80s movie, a girl has her plans canceled and she has to babysit. But on this babysitting trip, hilarity ensues with a whole lot of miscommunication, misunderstandings, but a lot of adventure. And that's the plot. I think you could probably say that for like any 80s movie, like Blind Date. It's like just any movie with kids in that era was just like, yeah, you're going to get into some shenanigans. It doesn't make sense.
I also think
it's
the funny part about this movie and other 80s movies and 80s TV shows is this entire movie could have been fixed with a cell phone.
80s, man. You didn't have that stuff.
No. This whole movie is, oh, let me just send an Uber to just take an Uber home, you dummy.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. That's the whole thing.
Who in their right mind, and we're talking about Brenda, the friend, who in their right mind waits for like 4 hours to get picked up from a train station? Like, no one does that.
You could have walked back to Oak Park from there.
Yeah, seriously.
4 hours. She could have jumped an L and she'd have been right there.
So did you have any expectations going into this movie, knowing that it had such a following?
I looked at the cast beforehand, and I love me some Elizabeth Shue. That's my Jennifer Parker, BT dub. So my expectations going into this movie was just to have a good old-fashioned 80s romp. I figured if it's this popular, it can't be bad, especially with world-renowned director Christopher Columbus.
He is the director, not like the shitbag explorer. A very nice guy and makes very fun movies. That was pretty much the same thing that I was going to go into this movie, that same type of mentality, that it'll be fun. It'll be 80s. We'll have some 80s music. We'll have some ridiculous things that is absolutely not even possible. I also just really liked Elizabeth Shue I always thought she was the cutest girl in Karate Kid, and knowing that she was the babysitter in this, I was like, oh, cool. It's my 80s crush, Allie, with an I. Let's go ahead and do this.
Oh yeah, no. Elizabeth Shue in the 80s, and in the 90s, smoke show for sure. Said it to my wife, to her face. I'm like, yeah, well, Elizabeth Shue was hot back then. Definitely my Jennifer Parker, for sure.
Still a smoke show to this day.
Elizabeth Shue, come on our podcast. We will be as creepy as the little boys in this movie.
For those who like musicals and the musical Rent, Anthony Rapp. Anthony Rapp, I had no idea was in this. I know he started his career very young, but I didn't realize that he was in this movie at all.
You also got Brat Pack member Keith Coogan, who did the movie or the what is it, documentary about the Brat Pack. And I'm like, when I'm watching the Brat Pack documentary, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I've
Who
never
can
seen him
forget
in
him?
anything. Yeah. I'm like, you're not in the Brat Pack, dude. And this is why he thinks he was in the Brat Pack, because he did Adventures in Babysitting.
Well, let's kind of just go through and walk through this wonderful Columbus Day movie and just kind of talk about the major points of the plot. So you got Chris, Elizabeth Shue's character, just dancing her little heart out. How I pictured every girl kind of doing the same thing, picturing their wedding, singing about a boy. And I think that was like in every 80s movie. Like a girl had to do that kind of thing to psych herself up for a date. Am I wrong? Am I just remembering every movie wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. And I think it's a staple. The opening musical of lip syncing and just, a positive, happy song taking you through. The music in 80s movies was huge and a big part of it. And this movie does not disappoint in that area. For some reason, the opening of this movie, though it's ridiculous, just brings happiness. Right? It's like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
What's even more ridiculous, you've got Bradley Whitford from Billy Madison as the boyfriend heartthrob. How fucking crazy is that?
There's two things. I want to continue on the music journey for a minute before we get to Josh Lyman from The West Wing, a show you never watched but should have. Bradley Whitford's finest work. Did you, as you're watching the opening scene with Elizabeth Shue, not realize why you wanted to smile to the Crystals and Then He Kissed Me song? And you're just like, what other movie was this in? And why do I remember it being such a great song? Do you
No,
remember what other movie it's in?
no.
Do, I'm assuming you've seen Goodfellas. And the
Yeah.
scene where they take him in the back of the Copacabana and they do the walking thing where he's tipping everybody and it's that single shot. I'm like, that's why I have this reverence for this song. And I'm just like, no movie with this song could be bad. And that's solely because that's the song where they walk in the back in Goodfellas. So this has become the second favorite use of this song in a movie because Elizabeth Shue in full frame. Like, let's go. The cast in this movie runs so deep. Even like the rando villain on Canada is in so much. He's just a staple face, usually of law enforcement, but in general, I thought it was really cool. But Bradley Whitford as the villain in this, I was all about it. Bradley Whitford has a full hairline in this too. Let's go.
Not even not even a full
Nobody's
hairline.
coming over. It's okay though. We get over it. He's a wonderful actor. I really enjoy him. And for those of us that watched The West Wing and enjoyed The West Wing, it's anything you see Bradley Whitford in, you're just like, oh, Bradley Whitford. You just assuming it's the guy from Billy Madison, you have no idea how talented Bradley Whitford is.
Oh, I know he's talented. He's one of those guys that you automatically hate. So to see him in the boyfriend role that you're supposed to like, and you don't know that he's a garbage bag until the very end.
He is a teenage
I
dirtbag driving an IROC. I loved it.
Yeah, too cool, too cool.
Too cool.
But
Those
yeah, I
old
mean,
school Illinois license plates too.
speaking of licenses, Elizabeth Shue ends up getting this job to babysit. She's like, "Ah, I don't want to do it, but she has nothing else to do because her friend Brenda is going to go out. Enter the Anderson family, which the
Wait a
mom
minute.
and dad just seem so careless with their kids, much like many suburbanite husbands and wives are with their kids.
Can we talk about who her friend Brenda is? Golden Globe winning actress Penelope Ann Miller of Carlito's Way film and Kindergarten Cop.
Soon to be, well, I believe it's released now. The Reagan movie is
Yeah,
Nancy
soon
Reagan.
to be Nancy Reagan.
Yeah.
Uh, loses her glasses to a homeless lady. And the scene where she's in the phone booth and he's like, "Get out of my house." I almost peed a little. It was great. But
But
the cast list of this movie is bulletproof. I think the only person you don't see much in anything is Joe Gipp, who was the car thief in the movie. Or no, his name's Calvin Levels. He played Joe
Kevin.
Gipp, the car thief. Car
Yep,
thief.
yep, yep.
This cast list got me. So as we were going through it, I was stoked that this was going to be that we were going to watch it.
It seemed like it was going to be a nice, fun little romp. I guess as we dive a little bit deeper into the plot, we'll see if that actually is true. But we get to meet the Andersons and the kids. So you got Sarah and Brad. Brad obviously has a huge crush on the babysitter. And then, of course, out of nowhere, you have Sarah, the little girl, obsessed with Thor, wearing a Thor helmet, wearing Thor colors and everything.
Wearing the Thor helmet the whole fucking movie.
So strange. And it's not like Thor was like a really big character around that time.
No.
There's a little bit of at least network television exposure to Thor because you had Eric Kramer, former football player, as Thor in the Incredible Hulk Returns.
That immediately reminded me of you. I'm like, oh, Dana's going to love this. There's a little girl dressed up as Thor the whole movie.
I was just surprised that Thor was even a thing. Like he was kind of like a C character overall.
I thought it was really funny that this movie has so many Marvel references to it. And the people come there, they don't discuss money or leave her cash to pay for the ice cream that they want to take their kids. And they're just like, yeah, do whatever with the kids. Who cares? You'll figure it out.
Yeah, so much like the 80s where it's like, yeah, do whatever with your kids. At least there was a babysitter. I never had a babysitter. It was just I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, we're gone for a couple hours.
Yeah. Don't burn the house down. Yeah, I was a latchkey kid too. It's like, oh, the you have a key, you'll get in, just lock the door and don't let in the strangers. It'll be fine.
Let's throw out some statistics or just like some fun facts for the viewers. How old were you when you were just like left at home alone?
Oh God. Like fourth grade,
Okay.
maybe.
So like 11, 10 years old?
Yeah,
Or
something
well,
like that.
yeah. Okay.
So
I think I remember a time where my parents went on like a cruise or something, and that was
just
the very
left you
first time it
home.
was like an extended period of time.
But you had older siblings, right?
They didn't live with us at the time,
Or
but
how
yeah,
many times you watched Terminator? Were you just living that
I
Kevin McAllister life and
at
just
that point
bored
I moved
phases?
on to other movies.
Oh,
I had already played out the Betamax Terminator.
oh, the beta. Oh no. Now you go to jail for that shit, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. Can't leave your kids at home, and parents, we totally understand if you do, but you can't do it.
Yeah,
So
no. Can't
just
even
don't
leave
get
kids in
caught
the car to run in the store. How many times were you left in the car as a kid? Just like, hey, stay here. I'll lock the doors.
all the time,
Every
all the time.
day. And I didn't
I'm
have like
ta-
a tablet or anything. I just stood there and looked at the people outside the car. Now
I
they
had the
break windows for
radio.
dogs in the radio.
Exploring the weird shit in the glove compartments and center consoles
Like
if there was
like the
one.
hand. That oh man. This movie had so many funny one-liners in it, and the glove box was one of them. But in the beginning of this, when she said that she went to the bus station or the train station or something, like you lived in Oak Park.
There's a train there.
Like you, you could have got right back. You could have It would have been pretty quick.
She
I
ran
don't
away from home to a downtown bus station or train station.
You must be from the suburbs. This it's like Oak Park is not it's so much not a suburb.
Walk
It's like
right
right
down.
there. It's
Yeah, it's
right
right
there.
there.
For those of you that don't know, both of us are from the Chicagoland area where this movie takes place, and it is laughable. The amount of, oh, you're from the suburbs. No, you're not. They're not from Winnetka. They're from fucking Oak Park, which is like next door to
Yeah.
Chicago. All of the public transit available there. And like, yeah, I don't know. From what do you think? From Grand Central to Oak Park is maybe a 30-minute drive. No expressway needed.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to get there. Not a
Like, I don't
problem.
even know what expressway she would have been on. Like, would she have been on I-55?
Yeah. Guess it would have
Definitely
to
wouldn't
be.
have gone through the neighborhoods that it says that she went through. I-55 is a straight shot. Like,
Yeah, right
did she
there.
take 57 up to two? I don't understand. I don't understand the geography there. Obviously, the Blues Club was meant to represent like Buddy Guys, which is on a whole different area. Completely no way to get, like, no reason to get there.
Not very geographically accurate for this
No,
movie.
no, no. For Chicagoans, you'll be frustrated. It is minor because of all the quality, just 80s tropes that happened in this movie.
All the shenanigans happen because, like, well, we got to go pick her up. She's in trouble. Oh, what am I gonna do with these kids? All right, you guys can come with me. And then Daryl, Anthony Rapp's character, comes up, and dude, he is such a little slime bucket. I hated him the
Mm-hmm.
entire movie.
Yeah.
He was just like White Urkel before Urkel came out.
Damn ginger kids. You can't trust them.
Did you like him as a character?
No, no, I was done right away. But it is what it is. You got to bring, for some reason, that what kind of creeper kid carries around a Playboy?
Did you ever have any classmates that carried Playboys around?
No, no, nobody ever
Never?
brought porn to school. Not that I'm
Huh.
aware of. Maybe I did have cool friends.
Kids definitely did that all the time.
Mm. It wasn't me.
All the time.
Wasn't me. Kept that stuff at home, bro.
Bringing around other people and their little sister, you
Yeah,
mean?
no, I wasn't a porn sharer. It was not my game.
And then the early 2000s hit. And everyone was.
And then we had
Apparently,
the internet.
the internet gave you a how-to. Like, here's how to get your porn. Here you go.
I mean, porn drove technology forward. Let's be honest.
That drove something.
Oh, so you get the weird, and he throws the Playboy out the window. No,
Rookie move.
yeah, I just like, bro, respect the man's supply. Where did you go as the tire blowout happened here?
I thought, well, here starts the adventure in
Here
babysitting.
starts the adventure. Was I
Yeah.
the only person that laughed when they're like, "You drove on the expressway without a spare tire? You're crazy!" Like, what?
Yeah. I was
What?
like, huh? Why? Why is that the
I'm
case?
like, I'll drive on the expressway with the donut spare tire and nothing else. Like, who's who's making fun of this girl for raw dogging life on four real tires?
Yeah. And kids who can't drive, by the way, like
Yeah,
they're making fun of it as well.
yeah. No, that was funny to me.
It did fit though because they were talking about the little scary story and the bad guy with the hook, and this guy just happens to have a hook. Okay, that's kind of clever.
I don't know where she just was like, I'll tell these kids ghost stories because that is obviously the cool thing to do.
Yeah, right? Like, why was she telling a ghost story while driving? Not exactly the most conducive ghost telling story situation.
Not the best move on her part. Also, the reference of a negative connotation on SpaghettiOs with meat really didn't sit well with me. The SpaghettiOs with meatballs are obviously the best SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs are the worst, man. That shit is gross.
No, nostalgia, bro.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia. You call it nostalgia, I call it diarrhea.
Never,
That stuff is gross.
never.
Comment below.
SpaghettiO,
SpaghettiOs,
yes. Hashtag SpaghettiO, yes.
hashtag diarrhea. So you got the tow truck driver, which ends up being a nice guy. Just
Until
wants to
he
help these
finds
kids
out
out.
there's a strange car parked in front of his house, and then he's going fast.
I had to rewind it back because I was like, where the fuck did this come from? Why is he just ramming his truck into a tree? I was like, oh, yeah, it was that paper thin when it came to the plot. He just saw
It
something
was, but that's
strange.
okay. That's the 80s, baby.
From there, they jump into a car, which just happens to be getting carjacked. And instead of getting shot at, they just drive off. And the car thief is completely cool with this.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna drop you off at the chop shop real quick, and we'll get you where you need to go. It's fine.
Yeah,
We'll be cool.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just thought it was funny that he stole this blood red caddy, and then they're just, we need to cut it up. We're gonna cut up the caddy and not send
yeah.
it to Cleveland because Cleveland's dead to me. The mobsters in this movie were laughable.
Oh, yeah.
And then they somehow walk across the beam, which the parents made a joke. I bet she's hanging from the rafters. Nope, she's walking on top of him, buddy.
And she must have that ninja silent perk from Call of Duty as she's walking across those steel girders
Yeah.
across everything, not
Well, they
making a
were
single sound.
obviously they were wearing sneakers, so it's
Mm,
fine
yeah,
because they're
yeah.
sneaking.
And the car thief is just Joe Gipp, completely cool. He sees him. He's like, "Those some crazy white kids," and that's it.
Crazy white people is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I thought it was really funny that he just he understands that they didn't do anything. They don't need to be here. They shouldn't have been detained to begin with. And it's his fault that they're in trouble. So he lets them go. And the kid steals another Playboy and puts it in the child's backpack.
Kid's just horny.
He
Anthony
just
Rapp's character,
he just
super horny.
and the thing about it is Anthony Rapp's character was just fully familiar with this month's issue. Isn't the person that tells us that Elizabeth Shue looks like the centerfold.
Yeah.
They wait to get it later when they're at the frat house. But before they get to the frat house, they obviously need to go through the back door of a blues club.
And you know you can't leave a blues club unless you sing the blues, right?
Can't leave. Won't do it. Nope. Got to sing the blues. And who knew you don't have to be able to sing the blues. All you got to do is talk about your bullshit boyfriend with a too cool license plate.
I
Bradley Whitford makes you sing the blues.
That scene just went a little too long for
It's
me.
so dumb, but so 80s that you're just
Yeah.
like, yes, yes, 80s. I love it. But you know what was missing from this movie for me when it comes to the 80s? And it was throughout the whole front half of the movie, you could tell. And then when it got to certain parts, I'm just like, the fuck. And it was the fact that Disney edited the shit out of this movie. Why? What's the point of taking out naughty language?
It definitely was more language, especially for a PG-13 movie, right? I felt like that the 80s had a different standard of PG-13 compared to now.
Well, they got their one fuck in there, right? It was supposed to be don't fuck with the babysitter when they were on
Yeah.
the train. My wife was like, they changed that. They did. I Googled this just to fully understand the changes that were made. They removed a few um what's the word? A few LGBTQ plus slurs out of the movie, which, whatever. But then they took like just random regular swear words out of it.
Yeah. That's where I knew that something was a little bit weird because the lips just weren't matching up with what they were saying. I was like, "Oh, they took that out of there. That's why." And
Yeah,
then when it was like, "Don't fuck with the babysitter," I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is the TV edit, huh?" Do I
I
have to
don't
pay the next level up
I
for
know.
uncensored Disney
What are they
Plus
gonna
movies?
what's Disney gonna do when they release Wolverine and Deadpool? They're
I
fucked.
think with Disney overall, there's some things that, sure, you can edit some things, but I don't know if editing that was the right move. Could have saved it for something else. Maybe instead of in Swiss Family Robinson, where they could have rewrote that or re-edited that to make it more PC.
Yeah, don't fuck with Adventures in Babysitting. Yeah.
Going back to Vincent D'Onofrio, so he is looking not like Vincent D'Onofrio whatsoever.
Whoa,
He's looking good, man.
whoa! I don't know who that was with Vincent D'Onofrio's head on it, but that was nuts.
I did a double take for sure.
It was this is the same movie that or the same year that Full Metal Jacket came out. It probably was filmed beforehand, but like Vincent D'Onofrio got swole to play Thor.
Sarah's obsession. I thought like, oh, this is how they're gonna make this work. She's just gonna be like, "Hey Thor, help us out. You're always on to help people." And sure enough, she did that, but it didn't work the first time, so she tried it another time. Good old Vincent D'Onofrio. It's like, yeah, I already got one of these helmets, kid. And then everything worked out for them. They got their
Yeah,
car back.
but I want to take a step back from that scene, the crazy Vincent D'Onofrio. I want to talk about the crazy skyscraper roof scene on what I think is the Smurf Stone building, or the Smurfit Stone building in the skyline, right? The one with the slanty roof.
The one where he was gonna murder the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna drop you from this building, and then they just leave him out there.
yeah.
First of
And
all,
and Joe Gipp is just like, it's all right. Just let him sweat.
first
He's
of
like,
all,
yeah, you're gonna your accessories to murder.
I'm gonna fall. What skyscraper is renovating and just leaves a tarp over a window in Chicago? That
Every
tarp is
building,
gone.
every building in the 80s did that. So
But that tarp is, with the wind in Chicago, that tarp is gone.
you're concerned about the tarp at this point?
There's so many things on the roof that I'm concerned with. It's just this kid, cool as shit, just like meh, whatever.
Yeah.
Is on the edge of this skyscraper that is insanely high, right? Like, oh my god.
They make it through. And we do find out that her boyfriend is a big piece of shit because he's at the place that he was supposed to be with her. All the kids stick up for each other and like they're all one big pal group now.
They're all buddies.
So
Because
yeah,
that's how 80s movies end. Oh, but wait a minute. We need to talk about the weirdest frat party ever that's in this movie. What frat party has a live soul band? I'm like, what kind of preppy University of Chicago frat party is this?
maybe the writers just watched Animal House just before this movie. They're just like, that's what
Oh,
this movie needs.
okay. That you got me there. You got me with the
That
Animal House reference.
But that was outside of their comfort zone, and they just brought that comfort zone into them. Like, let's just bring the soul band to us instead of
Yeah.
going out to an all black bar.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's so funny. And then the random dude who's like, yeah, well, I'll go pick up this high school girl and drive my Jeep all the way
And
to Oak Park.
give her $45.
Yeah. Oh, here. All I got is
Oh,
45. Just take it.
yeah.
Take
Oh,
it.
no
It's
problem.
fine. You're
And
good.
then they're just fine with that. Like, oh, that's great. Like they didn't think like, oh fuck, they're gonna be pissed that we don't have the $50.
Yeah. Try to short Thor. Thor's going to hit you with his hammer, is what he's going to do. This is a very quotable movie, too.
Oh, for sure. The ending had a little bit of nostalgia close to Ferris Bueller's, right? So there it's like the race on the way home, and Elizabeth Shue's character is like, all right, we'll drive 80 just to make sure.
Yeah. How fast do your parents go? Okay, we'll do 80. Yeah,
I
that's another great quote, right? The other quotable moment is the one stitch.
was looking at that, I was like, I don't think this is going to be that bad. I think there's, not knowing what happens in the movie, I was like, I don't think anything's going to happen with this. I think it's going to miss right through
That's
his
what I thought
foot.
too. I'm like, oh, just missed his toe, right? Just missed his
Yeah.
toe.
Like he's fine.
I liked the soundtrack. I was not against the soundtrack, which means that you probably hated it because it was all popular music.
I wanted there to be more. That's the only gripe that I have with it. The music was fine, but
Really?
I
You
would have
wanted more?
liked to have like one of those 80s undeniable humdinger of a pop songs just wedged in here.
You don't think that 25 miles hit it?
Nope.
Edwin
Nope.
Starr didn't do it for you?
I mean, name the best of that song is on. You're not going to find it. I wanted like a really 80s song in here. Like I would have even settled for some Culture Club, some Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, something,
Well,
you
that's
know.
because this took place in Chicago. And obviously, the only music we listen to in Chicago is the blues, Dan.
Yeah.
Nobody leaves this movie without listening to the blues.
No one's going to leave this episode without our answer to this question.
Oh,
Mark, when it comes to the adventures of babysitting, can you do this all day?
though this movie did not nearly transition as easily and seamlessly and velvety as my esteemed co-host, I'm gonna say I liked it. I would watch it again. It's a solid background movie. I'm not against Adventures in Babysitting. Everybody likes a 25-year-old Elizabeth Shue. I'm in. But conversely, Dan, because of the popular music and the all over the place plot and the lack of great 80s music for you, can you adventure with Babysitting all day?
This one is a very easy yes, I can do this all day because there's just too much nostalgia. Chris Columbus just does fun movies. So I wasn't expecting, like, oh, I need to have everything tied up into a nice little bow at the end. I need every single thing to make sense. No, I don't. I'm fine with the disjointedness. I'm fine with the ridiculosity of these kids getting into as much shit as they do in one night. Perfectly fine for it. It's exactly catering to what the name of this movie is. It's Adventures in Babysitting. You're in for the adventure, so might as well go all out. And it's not realistic, but it's fun. The characters are likable. With the exception of Daryl, Anthony Rapp's
Daryl.
character, but other than that, everyone's likable. Even the criminals are likable because they're so laughable and comic ridiculous. So yeah, I can definitely do this all day.
I mean, that's two thumbs up on an amazing holiday, Chris Columbus Day. We at the I Can Do This All Day podcast salute you. They should build a statue. Maybe tear down one of Christopher Columbus and put one up of Chris Columbus.
Until next time, this is Dan the Part-Time Avenger. That's Mark the Resident Jedi.
Enjoy your Columbus Day. Like, subscribe. In the comments, what movie are we doing of Chris Columbus's next year? We don't know yet, but we're going to do it because this is tradition. Kids get a day off from school from this, and you should give us a 5-star review for celebrating it. I Can Do This All Day podcast on all the socials. Hit us up. Let us know.
We'll see you next time. And Christopher Columbus, the director, is a gem, not the shitbag explorer. We'll see you next time, everyone.